here with the harmonic minor scale tutorial part 1. What we're going to be looking at today is how the scale is constructed and how we can harmonise the scale. We'll also be comparing the scale's harmonisation to that of the natural minor scale so that we can compare the differences between the two. We'll also be looking at how we can play the chords on the guitar in 2 sets of fingerings. We'll also discuss some of the usages of these chords, and in later videos we'll also be looking at how to solo using the harmonic minor scale and over which chords the scale can be played. Okay, I've prepared a sheet on the computer which we can head over there now and have a look at it. Okay, here we have a natural minor and a harmonic minor. Let's just check out the notes in these 2 scales. Here we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. In harmonic minor, we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. So we can see that the only difference between the 2 scales is this G sharp on the 7th degree. Now what that creates is a minor third interval here, whereas we've got a tone between these 2 notes in the natural minor scale. Let's just check out the intervallic definitions between the 2 scales. So from 1 to 2 we've got a tone in both scales. From 2 to 3, and that's a flat 3, we have a semitone in both scales. From flat 3 to 4 we have a tone. From 4 to 5 we have a tone in both scales. From 5 to flat 6 we have a semitone move in both scales. From flat 6 to flat 7 in natural minor we have a tone, and as we've just said, from flat 6 to 7 in harmonic minor we have a minor third interval. A minor third interval, by the way, is 1½ tones, which is 3 semitones or 3 half steps. Because of this alteration to this 7th degree, it now creates a semitone from the 7th back to the 1st, whereas we've got a tone in this scale. Okay, I just want to mention that for those who don't know about this, chords are built in intervals of thirds. There are chords that are built in intervals of fourths, but that's another subject that we'll discuss at some other time. Right now we're going to discuss chords that are built in thirds, and it has to be said that 99.9% of the chords you're going to be playing are chords built from intervals of thirds. Okay, let's just talk about what firsts, seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths and sevenths are. What they are intervals from one point to another in a scale. For instance, if we go from the tonic, which is the first note of the scale, to the second note of the scale, that is an interval of a second, because there are only 2 note names involved, 1, 2. If we now go from the first note of the scale to the third note of the scale, then that is a third, because there are 3 note names involved, A, B, C. So from A to D would be a 4th. From A to E is a 5th. From A to F is a flat 6. From A to G is a flat 7, and A here through to A here is the octave. Okay, now these are going to be intervals. Intervals are analysed the same way no matter where you start from. From here, it would be from this B on the 2nd degree. It would also be an interval of a second to this note here. It would be a different kind of second, because this is a tone, this second here, whereas this second is only a semitone. So this would be a major second from A to B, a minor second from B to C. Okay, but it's still some kind of second. Okay, from the second to this 4th here, that would be a third interval, because we've got 3 note names involved, B, C, D. So a 4th from here would be from 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't matter where we're analysing from. The fact is that there are the thirds or fourths or whatever. Depends on how many note names are involved. Okay, so that's how we now sort out our intervals. What we want to do right now is how do we actually build these chords? The way we build these chords is by stacking notes which are intervals of thirds apart from each other, and we stack them onto the top of each other. For instance, we have an A here. We now need a third. So the third above A is this C here. So if we slide that along and we stick it there, then we've got the root of the chord and the chord's third. We now need another third above this third, which would be 1, 2, 3. That would now slide along this line and sit on that line. So now we've got a root, a third, and then a third above this third here would be the fifth up from here. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if we're building seventh chords, we would need a seventh. So the seventh up from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. And as you can see, that seventh is a third above this fifth that we've just moved along here. So now we've got a root, a third, a fifth, and a seventh. Now we do that to every degree of the scale. So if we want now the third above this chord, we would go 1, 2, 3 and move that D along till it's sitting in here. Then we need a third above D, which is 1, 2, 3, this F, and that slides along and sits in this space here. Then we need a third above the F, which is this A here, 1, 2, 3, and that would be in this space here. And then we would have the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. Okay, so that's how we actually construct the chords of a scale. Okay, let's have a look at the chords in the scale right now and discuss the differences between harmonic minor and natural minor. Now, although there's only the one difference in the scale, which was the G sharp on the 7th degree, although there's only that one difference, it's going to make a massive difference to the chords that are developed in the harmonic minor scale. So there's the G sharp. Now let's have a look at the chords. Here we go. Right. Now, because like I said, because of the G sharp, we've now got a G sharp in this chord, which we didn't have in that one. We've got a G sharp in this chord, and we haven't in this one. G sharp here, we haven't got one there. G sharp in these two chords, look. No G sharps here. So, as you can see then, it's now really changed the structure of these chords. We've got what we've got here is the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. Right, now, before we go further with the analysis of and differences between these two scales, I want to tell you how these chords are actually ending up being a minor chord and a minor 7 flat 5 and a major type chord and a minor chord and so on. What you have to know is that all chords, regardless of what type they are, I'm now talking about major chords, minor chords, dominant 7th chords, altered dominant 7ths, diminished chords, augmented chords, it doesn't matter what chord we're talking about. All chords are analysed against a major scale that is based on the root of the chord you're analysing. So in other words, any chord with an A root, be it A 7th, A minor 7th, A major 7 flat 5, A 7 sharp 5 sharp 9, doesn't matter what it is, any A rooted chord will be analysed against A major scale. Any chord that has a B as its root will be analysed against B major scale. Okay, so let's have a look at this then. So now we're analysing these notes here against an A major scale. Now, what you have to know about the key of A major is that it's got 3 sharps. F is sharp, G is sharp, and so is C. So F, C and G are sharp in the key of A major. So this would be 1 in A major, but this in A major, this C would be sharp, and given the fact that it isn't sharp here in this chord means that this interval from the root to this third is a minor third. Okay, so because in A major it's a C sharp, and here we've got a C natural, so that makes that interval from there to there a minor third. Now from the root to this note here is a perfect fifth, A, B, C, D, E, okay, and from A through to this G. Now G is sharp in the key of A major, so that means that this being a G natural is now not a major seventh interval as it would be in A major, it is now a minor seventh interval, because it is a flatted seventh. The seventh is sharp in the key of A major. This is not sharp, as you can see. So what we have here is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. And there we are. That's the intervallic definitions of a minor seventh chord, which is termed as the chord formula. Okay, every chord has got its own formula. All minor seventh chords, which this is, has 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. If we looked at this minor chord here, this also has got 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. So we would be analysing these notes against a D major scale. Now D major scale has got two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. As you can see, F is natural in this chord, so from D to F is a minor third. That's why this chord and this chord are minor chords, because of the interval from root to third is a minor third. That makes them minor chords. From the root to the fifth in this chord is our D to A, but here we've got a C natural, and as I've just said, C is sharp in the key of D major, so this is not. So that's now a minor seventh interval from root to minor seventh. Okay, let's analyse this 2 chord here. Now we're going to be analysing this against B major scale, because it's got a B rooted chord. So here's our B root. By the way, B major scale has got 5 sharps. All F's, C's, G's, D's and A are sharp in the key of B. So D here is one of those sharps, but in this chord it's a D natural, so again this is a minor third interval, which then makes it some kind of minor chord, as you can see here. Okay, so B to D is a minor third. Here we've got F natural. In the key of B major, F is sharp. Here it's an F natural, so that means it's a flatted fifth. That's why this chord is called a B minor 7 flat 5, flat fifth. Here we've got an A natural. In the key of B major, A is sharp, so this is now a minor 7th, a flatted 7th. So the formula for this chord then is 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. Let's analyse this chord. You've guessed it, we're going to analyse this against C major, because the root is C. In the key of C major there are no flats or sharps, so that means all these notes which are now natural in this chord must all be coming from C major, which they are. This is the root, third, fifth, seventh, so 1, 3, 5, 7. That's the chord formula for a major 7th chord. So if we looked at this major 7th chord here, this is also 1, 3, 5, 7. we'd be analysing this chord against the key of F major. In F major there is one flat, B flat. So F is natural, so is A, so is C, and so is E. And that's the first of F major, the third of F major, that's a major third, and is the fifth, perfect fifth, and E is the major seventh, the seventh note of the scale. So that makes that a major seventh, 1, 3, 5, 7, just like 1, 3, 5, 7 in this chord. Okay, we've discussed these minor seventh chords already. All we have to discuss now is this dominant seventh. Okay, G seventh is here's our root. We're analysing this against the scale of G major. So the scale of G major has one sharp, F sharp. So G is the first of the scale, E is the third, the major third, E is the perfect fifth, but this is an F natural. In the G scale, this is an F sharp, so that means that this is a flatted seventh. So the formula for a dominant seventh is 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And that's the difference between dominant seventh chords and major seventh chords. The only difference is the seventh on a dominant seventh is a flatted seventh, whereas the seventh here on a major seventh chord is not a flatted seventh. That's the only difference. I must mention also, a lot of people are under the misconception that this type of chord is a seventh chord, and they kind of think that only this chord is the seventh chord. When they see a chord such as this, or in another key such as this, they're thinking that, yeah, these are seventh chords because it says the root followed by 7. The truth is, all chords that have 7 in their name are all some kind of seventh chord. So these, every one of these are seventh chords, and every one of these are seventh chords. What they are is just different types of seventh chords. Okay, what else do we need to talk about here? If we look at this scale again and analyse the different types of chords we've got minor seventh on the first degree, the fourth and fifth degrees. This is degree 1 again. We've got minor 7 flat 5 on degree 2. We've got major 7th on degree flat 3 and flat 6. And we've got a dominant 7th on degree flat 7. So how many different types of chord are we talking about? 1. This is still 1 because these are minor 7ths. There's a minor 7 flat 5. There's only one of those, so that's 2 types of chord so far. C major 7th and F major 7th are both the same type, so that's 3 types of chord. And there's our G7th, gives us 4 types of chord in the natural minor scale. Whereas in harmonic minor, we've got 1 type of chord, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different types of chord. So every chord in the scale is a different chord, whereas here we've got repetitions of the same type of chord, albeit they're on different roots. Okay, now because of that alteration that we had on the 7th degree, this alteration here, we're now looking at this set of chords in harmonic minor, and we can see that it's made a massive difference to these chords, because now, because of the G sharp, these chords that did feature G natural before have now all become G sharps. See, like this chord has got a G natural in it, but now on the same degree it's now a G sharp in this chord here. And here we've got on this E minor, we've got a G sharp here where it's G natural here. We've got G sharp here where it's G natural there, and a G natural here where it's a G sharp here. Okay, so that has now changed the type of chords that they are. We're now not a minor seventh chord anymore, because the seventh is not a flatted seventh, it is a major seventh. That's why this chord is a minor chord with a major seventh interval here from the root to the seventh. We've still got our minor third from the root to the third, and we've got a perfect fifth from here, from the root to the fifth here. The difference has been, is just this seventh here has now been sharpened up to a G sharp, which makes the chord now a minor major seventh structure. Okay, here the 2 chord is still the same, minor 7 flat 5. The flat 3 chord is now not just a major seventh, it's a major seventh with the fifth sharpened, hence the name major 7 sharp 5. There's our root to third, and there's our fifth G, but it is the G sharp, it's been sharpened, so that makes it a sharpened fifth. And in most chord symbols such as these here, the chord symbol basically tells you what is required from the musician. It's telling you that it's a major chord based on a C root, and you've got to have a seventh in it and a sharpened fifth. So it's very kind of explains itself, the chord symbol. Here we have on the 4th degree a minor 7th chord, still the same in both scales, but now the 5 minor 7 has now become a dominant 7th, okay, because of that G sharp again. Here the major 7th is the same on both degrees, and now our 7th degree, again because of the G sharp, has now become a G sharp rooted chord, and it's actually changed, because of that, changed it quite significantly. From here to here is a minor third interval. From here to here is another minor third interval, and from here through to there is another minor third interval. So from G sharp to B is a minor third, from B to D natural is a minor third, and D to F is a minor third interval. So the diminished 7th chord is built on minor third intervals. Okay, and here we have the same chord as our 1 chord. It is the 1 chord, just played an octave higher. Okay, let's now go back to the guitar and see how these chords look in a couple of different fingerings. Okay, let's have a look at the chords built from A harmonic minor. Here's our first chord, our 1 chord, A minor major 7. Here's our A root. Here's the minor third on the 2nd string. The 5th here on the 4th string, and G sharp here is the major 7th on the 3rd string. A minor major 7th. And the reason I'm using this fingering, by the way, is so that I can use this as a movable chord by using the first finger, such as this now. Now I'm playing C minor major 7th, or D minor major 7th. Okay, so there's our 1 chord, A minor major 7. Our 2 chord is B minor 7 flat 5. Okay, this operates as a 7 chord in the key of C major. So that's where you've probably seen it before. Here's the root B, here's the minor third D, F is the flat 5, and A is the flat 7. So there's our 2 chord, B minor 7 flat 5. Our 3 chord is C major 7 sharp 5. Here's C major 7. If we want to sharp this 5th here, we do it by doing that. So there's C major 7 sharp 5. Here's the root C, here's the 3rd E, here's G sharp, which is the sharp 5, and B, which is our 7th major 7th. As you can hear, these are very exotic sounding chords, far different sounding from those of major. and far different than those sounding from natural minor as well. Okay, so here's our 4 chord D minor 7th. Here's our root D. Here's F, the minor 3rd. A is the 5th, and C here on the 3rd string is the flat 7. So D, F, A, C gives us our 4 chord D minor 7th. Our 5 chord is E 7th. Here it is here. Okay, E 7th is our E root here. Here's the 3rd G sharp. B is our 5th, and D is the flat 7. There's E 7 sharp 5. Sorry, E 7th. Our next chord is F major 7th, which is just up a semitone, and put this finger down. That's the only difference between these two fingerings. Move that up, that becomes F 7th. Put this finger down on the 3rd string, becomes F major 7th. And here's our root, 3rd, 5th, and 7th. That's a nice chord change, by the way, going from the 5 chord of the key to the 6 chord. Here's our, what are we looking for? Our 6th chord, which is G sharp diminished, which is this chord here. Here's our G sharp root. And our next chord is our, back to our 1 chord, A minor major 7th. So we'll play those descending. There's our 1 chord, there's our 7 chord, 6 chord, 5, 4, our 3 chord, 2 chord, and our 1 chord. Okay, all of those chords had the roots on this 5th string. We're now going to look at the same chords with the roots on the 6th string. Okay, so those chords had the roots on the 5th string. Now we're looking at chords, same chords with the roots on the 6th string. Okay, so here's our 1 chord, A minor major 7. This is a really nice chord, by the way, if you put the 9th on the top here, on the 5th string, this B. Okay? It's a nice chord as an afterthought when you've been playing a tune in a minor key. So let's say we've been playing, this is the end of a song coming up. And then as an afterthought, okay, so there's our 1 chord, A minor major 7. Here's our 2 chord, B minor 7 flat 5. Here's the B root. Here's the 3rd, the flat 5, and there's the flat 7. Our next chord is our 3 chord, flat 3, which is C major 7 sharp 5. A lot of dissonance in this chord. It's a great sounding chord. And now up a semitone with this finger, put our D root here, and we have our D minor 7th, which is our 4 chord. Okay, and we have our D root. Here's the minor 3rd F. Here's A, the 5th, and the 7th, flat 7th, C. There's our D minor 7th. Our next chord is E 7th. Here's our E root at the 12th fret. Here's the 3rd, G sharp. B is our 5th here, and also on the 2nd string. And D here on the 4th string is the 7th, flat 7th. So here's our E7th, our 5 chord. And then upper semitone for the root for the 6 chord, F major 7th. This is referred to as the flat 6, of course. So this is flat 6 major 7. Root F is the 3rd A. C here on the 2nd string is the 5th, and this E at the 14th fret on the 4th string is the 7th, the major 7th. Okay, our next chord is G sharp diminished. Here's the root here at the 16th fret, and the rest of the chord is here like this. So those 3, and then put the G sharp root on the bottom. And then we're back to our 1 chord, A minor major 7th. Back to our, let's descend these chords, back to our diminished chord. Sorry. Our flat 6 major 7, which is F major 7. E7th is our 5 chord. D minor 7th is our 4 chord. C major 7 sharp 5 is our 3 chord. B minor 7 flat 5 is our 2 chord, and our 1 chord again is A minor major 7. Okay, let's have a look at some usages for these chords from harmonic minor. At the beginning of this video, there's a piece of music that opens the video, and it's a piece that I composed which is based on a harmonic minor scale. And I'm just going to now show you the chords that are used in that piece. The opening progression is this. As you can hear, there is this line moving in the chords. And what it is, this is A minor, this is A minor major 7th, and this is A minor 7th. Back to A minor major 7, back to A minor. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, right, now the main body of the piece opens with an E7th chord here in the 5th position, and that then moves back to the 1 chord in the key of natural minor. Okay, so this chord E7th will be coming from harmonic minor. This 1 chord A minor, that is coming from natural minor. Remember, the 1 chord in harmonic minor is not a straight minor like this, it's a minor major 7th. Now, although it's a really nice sounding chord, a minor major 7th, it doesn't really function that often in minor key compositions as a 1 chord, because it doesn't really make such a great 1 chord. When we're playing in a minor key and we're doing our cadence, which means typically going from the 5 chord to the 1 chord, we usually would like to hear a straight minor triad or a minor 7th chord. It's very seldom that you find compositions that would have the 1 chord as a minor major 7. So basically the only time that we're going to be really looking at harmonic minor usage is mainly for the 5 chord, E7th. Okay, and basically I think it's quite accepted that the reason harmonic minor came into existence was because of the cadence problem that they encountered with a minor key cadence, because in natural minor the 5 chord is a minor 7th chord, and it doesn't have the same strength of resolution onto the 1 chord that the dominant 7th chord has in the major key. So that's why we have this, we did speak about this earlier on in the video, that's why we have a dominant 7th, so in the harmonic minor scale. So when we see E7, for instance, in a key, if we're doing a tune in A minor and we come across E7, we know we're using that E7 is coming from harmonic minor. Most of the other chords will be coming from the straight natural minor scale. Okay, so the piece, once we get past the intro, which was this, the piece then starts here with an E7. Then it goes to the 1 chord, A minor. Back to the E7th. Back to A minor. Now it goes to the flat 6 chord, F major 7. Now over these 2 chords, we could be, if we're soloing, we'll be going from F major 7 to E7. We can use harmonic minor over both of these chords. Remember I said before that this is what they look like. 5 chord to the 6th chord in harmonic minor. Well, here they are, they're played this way. 5 chord to the 6th chord. So we play that a couple of times. And then we get to a 2 minor 7 flat 5, which will be our B minor 7 flat 5. And that goes to E7. So both of these chords could be looked at as coming from A harmonic minor. And back to the intro. And basically that's the chord progression for this piece. You're going to see this particular chord movement and slight variations of that, which would be you would find this kind of, it's very common, you find it in quite a few tunes. One that springs to mind is My Funny Valentine. That chord progression I'm playing there was C minor, C minor major 7. So there's usage of harmonic minor chords. And then this goes to a C minor 7. And this is C minor 6. And those could be played this way. C minor, C minor major 7, C minor 7, C minor 6. Okay, so there's how a couple of the chords out of harmonic minor, how they usually function. And a 2-5-1 in harmonic minor would be, in A harmonic minor, would be a 2 chord, going to a 5 chord, and going to the 1 chord, which will now be out of natural minor. and like I said earlier, for a little bit of taste on the end. Okay guys, what we'll be looking at in video number 2 of the harmonic minor scale is the solo that finishes this video. Okay, so take a good listen to it and we'll dissect it in the next video. Also, if you need any info on scales, chords, the blues, pay a visit to my website. There's loads of material there that you can get your head into. Okay guys, I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.